Hey everybody, it's Colette Baron-Reid. Welcome to this week's mini lesson, and we're talking about how to shuffle cards. Now, I know you think it might be easy, but it's actually not. As soon as your head gets into it, you're like, I don't know, should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? I do it a whole bunch of ways, and I'm gonna show you at the end of this how to do it a whole bunch of ways. When you're ready to pull a card from your deck, and I'm talking about any deck, you wanna start by shuffling the deck however you prefer. Now, if your deck has reverse cards, which means upside down cards, which means there's two meanings, consider placing the cards on a big tabletop and mixing them up with your hands, and I'm going to show you how. And now you want to find a way that works for you, either a traditional shuffle like with playing cards or a one-handed sort. Again, I'll show you in a second. Now, it's important to see shuffling as a ritual that's both cleansing and mixing the energy of the cards for the reading. Then you want to focus on your question as you shuffle the cards. So let's use Spirit Animal because it's an unwieldy deck because it's fat, right? So it's a lot of cards here, especially if you have small hands, right? So let's imagine that you chose Spirit Animal as your main deck. And you're like, oh my God, I opened the box. Oh, how am I going to do this? So here's what I like to do when a card deck is big. I like to section the card deck out like this. Little sections. Let's say you have 4. Sometimes I do 6, but anyway. Right now, we're going to do 4 little sections. Then I'm going to take one, and I'm going to pretend I'm in a poker game, okay? I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. So I can do this. Anybody can do this if their hands are teeny even, and you just like shuffle them one, then you shuffle these guys together, and I might do it this way, right? So I might, you know how you do it this way? You go like this. I'm kind of not doing it really good. Or the one-hand shuffle, you do it this way. All ways work, by the way. There's no right way to shuffle the cards. So then you put them together. Now you're used to them. And let's say you do it this way, or you put them back in 4 little piles again. Or you do the one-hand shuffle, which is much easier to do when you have a giant deck. Now, we do have the protection message in this deck, which means when they're upside down, the universe wants to give you an extra hug. So when you get this, you want to make sure the cards are not all upright. And the way you do this, let's say you stick your card deck on the ground and you twist it like this, right? So you twist it. See how I'm doing this? I'm twisting it. Isn't that amazing? Then you put the twisted deck on the table and you mush them around, right? You just mush. I call it the mush way to shuffle, mushing. And then you're turning the cards around and then you put them back together again. So it's kind of messy. You don't want to do this in front of a client. If you're doing readings, you want to do this well before. But then you have them nicely mixed. So you know for sure that you're going to have a good blend of upright and reversed cards. And I want to say something about that, and I talk a lot about the reversals in my school. And you'll probably get some videos about that later on. But ultimately, there's no bad answer in an oracle card deck. So when I have my upside down cards, they're actually really, really good, and you should be excited when you get them. But that's me. That's how I create my cards that are in reversal. They're either called alignment cards, like in the Goddess Power Oracle, or they're called protection cards. They're called challengers to get back into alignment. So they're all really good. I do it again, by the way. I don't trust when the cards are the one time. I'll do it more than one time where I'll turn them around and then I'll just put them back together again. So there's no limit to the amount of shuffling you can do. But once you know that you've shuffled and you're satisfied with the fact that I have shuffled this deck, so basically I've now initiated my deck. Now you ask a question. You ask the question at the same time as you shuffle the cards. Pose the question and decide in advance. This is the question I'm going to ask. Then hold that question or the desired answer. Like what is in my highest good today? Tell me what's in my highest good today about X, Y, or Z, right? Or just in general. Let's do some myth busting around shuffling cards, because I have been doing this for over 30 years professionally. So I've heard and seen it all. Now, it's very personal, okay? Some people have a very specific way of shuffling their cards, and if they don't do it that way, they're wrong. And that it's like because they've been taught that there's only one right way to do cards. There is not only one right way to do the cards. You decide what it's going to mean just before you do it. There can't be a wrong way. You're always, always, always working with the cards in the way that is in your highest good. Shuffling is all about mixing them up. That's really the basics of that. But all the superstitious mumbo jumbo about they have to be on a silk cloth, they have to be put out in the moonlight, they have to be underneath a crystal, they have to be cleared by sage and smudging because they would be dirty afterwards. No one's allowed to touch your cards. Oh, I cannot be the only one that touches my cards. No, I'm going to let people touch my cards. Like there's all kinds of myths and ideas about the superstitious nature about oracle cards. Get over it. It's not. You decide. If you want your cards to only be working if you got a crystal on top of them, that's you. You decide that. That's for you. It's not for anybody else. It's just you if you want to choose that. But that is not a hard and fast rule at all. I know, and I know, and you will know too. Don't get caught up in the superstitious nonsense around how you have to work with these cards. You are meant to work with them according to how the author would like you to work with them, but in terms of the shuffling and how you take care of them, etc., that's going to be personal to you, not for all of us to do the exact same way, okay? Next week, we're going to be talking about how to handle jumpers. And you're wondering, what the heck is a jumper? Well, you'll find out next week. See you then.